I'm Jeff Myers, and welcome to Elgin Today. On this edition, first off, we talk with Parker Thompson of the Elgin Bike Hub, a group which has helped many citizens of Elgin get together to enjoy bike riding. Now the group hopes to open a community bike shop. We also hear from Sandra Davila from the Bike Hub. The area between the Hemmons Cultural Center and City Hall is being remodeled by the city. Now, Elgin historian Jerry Turnquist gives us a history lesson on some of the structures and streets that once were here. Elgin Today talks with Principal Crystal Thomas of the Elgin High School and Principal Jamie Crozen of Larkin. Both tell us how they honored their graduating seniors. June will be a busy month for downtown Elgin Side Street Studios, as Executive Director and Co-founder Tanner Melvin tells us. And finally, our conversation with Mayor David Captain is with Phase 3 of the COVID-19 virus now in place. The mayor tells us what that means to everyone in the city of Elgin. We'll have these stories and more on this edition of Elgin Today. We're just off the bike path close to the river right here. We're going to talk it over with the Bike Hub organizer, and that's going to be Parker Thompson. Parker, tell me about the club.
So Elgin Bike Hub is a community nonprofit, and we use bicycles as our tool for engagement. So our mission is to connect neighbors with neighbors and to explore the neighborhoods together. We are interested in helping people have access to opportunities. Transportation is at the core of how we connect. And so bicycles are one tool in that transportation system, which is how we kind of chose that tool for engagement.
And you've had special rides over the year, but right now over the years, about 5 years have been in existence. But now you're talking about something special, aren't you?
Right. So we've been connecting with neighbors and building relationships with other organizations and with the people that come out for the rides and the different programs. And we've come to the community realization that we are, one of the things that we're missing in our system is a bike shop. A community bike shop is what we're looking at doing. And so even before the COVID-19 crisis, we had been working on a plan to be able to bring a community bike shop to Elgin. It would be a nonprofit operation, and it would look a lot like what any standard bike shop would maybe look like whenever you first walked in, but it would continue to serve our mission of connecting neighbors with neighbors and connecting neighbors with opportunities.
That's your vision. Now, your needs would be what to get this rolling, if you will?
So one of the things that we have a need for right now is just financial resources. We need money. Right now, we've been operating out of organizer homes. Nobody has a big garage or a business appropriate address. And so we need to be able to get into a space that we can open a business permit to be able to get access to resources, to be able to store equipment.
Sure.
We can't take the donations for equipment until we have a place to put them.
Tell me what your day would look like after you get the shop running.
I think, well, I'm a teacher, so I probably work part-time through the teaching gig, but also engaging or incorporating the education side to the bike shop. Not only about, the bike shop will be about connecting neighbors and engaging with community and knowing each other, and that involves some type of education.
Wonderful.
And hopefully after school programs, before school programs, or right now, just programs in general, anything that we can help to connect neighbors with neighbors and students with students too.
Wonderful.
They're a big part of our community, and I think that's an important thing.
Your teaching ability and your bicycle ability really pay off in this. This is an exciting time for you, isn't it?
This is really exciting, yes. We are really, really excited about it, but we need your support. We need the community support.
Let me hear that website one more time so we can contribute.
elginbikehub.com/bikeshop.
It's exciting the way you say it. We're looking forward to that. So we'll look forward to opening day for that. And of course, you kids are always out and about riding your bike anyway, so your visibility is always there. Now you'll have a shop.
Come ride with us, or engage in any type of activity that we might have. We have a book club. We have different types of things going on. So come out, engage with us in whatever way that looks like. Come ride with us.
We then traveled to Larkin High School to talk with Principal Jamie Crozen and his school's efforts to honor graduates of 2020.
So what we try to do, and we work with our lovely rivals, the Elgin Maroons, on creating signs for downtown just to show not only that we're unified as a city, but we're also unified as a class of 2020. Yes, putting the rivalry aside for just a moment to understand the global pandemic that we're currently in, and that what our kids are suffering from is something that we probably have not seen since World War II. So we wanted to do something that just showed how much we really cared for them, and really to do something that really showed that we were together as a city and as two schools that sometimes, have very intense basketball games on a Friday night.
Here in the front yard here at Larkin High School, behind you, beautiful signage. That's every senior up there on that great sign, isn't it?
Every graduating senior is listed on that sign. This was a great idea from my senior sponsors, Miss Aurora Scarpacci and Miss Amanda Long. They came to me with the idea and said, Mr. Croson, can we do a sign? I said, yes, let's do it. And our kids have taken it a step further. So many of them come up to take signs, take pictures of it, have posted on their Facebook page, have thanked us for it. So it's been a tremendous outpouring. And again, it's just our attempt to just show our love to our seniors.
So one of the first things we did, we had a wonderful teacher of ours who really wanted to show how, even though there's a friendly rivalry between Larkin and Elgin, we wanted to show that this is a time to come together. So if you ride downtown Elgin, you'll see banners in support and in unity for this difficult time when we are coming together, Elgin and Larkin, to support our seniors together. So that is one of the activities that was planned by our graduation committee, which again includes our parents as well as our staff. And then last night was really exciting. We were able to celebrate our top 2% students. They usually, in normal circumstances, would have a banquet and we would honor their accomplishments. I wanted to do something similar. So we had our secretaries, who are also on the graduation committee, delivered food to their homes because they would normally engage in some kind of appetizers before the ceremony started. And similar to Larkin, we do have our signs, and we are excited about that and to show everybody who our graduates are as well.
One more thing, just for a mention, we see all the personal signs in front yards. You put those up as well for the seniors at Elgin High.
So that's really important too, because that was part of the graduation committee work. So we had parents delivering signs as well as our staff delivering signs. And the students were very excited to see us, even though we had to, of course, practice social distancing, which we did, and follow social distancing procedures and policies. They were still happy to see our faces, and we were happy to see them as well.
Next, you have probably seen some of the remodeling work going on at the plaza area between City Hall and the Hemmons Cultural Center. We have Elgin historian Jerry Turnquist to tell us some of the interesting aspects of this area.
Well, Jeff, I'm glad you asked me to share some things about this Civic Center area. It's going to change in the near future. I was 16 years old when this project began here. This was all very, very different. Dexter Street, which is right in front of me, which goes right through City Hall, passed right through here. Brook, which is right behind us. This was the intersection of a street. This was all a retail, commercial area. Railroad lines ran through here. It was very different than it is today. The streets have all been gone, but some of the buildings that would be here that I remember, and I was 16 again when this happened. The Campmeyer building would be about this area here. It was a former brewery and dairy and apartment building. Bus station sat on another corner over here. The Hemmons Auditorium came in here with a grant from Hattie Hemmons, and was the last of this area. I should back up a second and say this is all built with urban renewal money, which is non-existent today, but this was sort of an area that really needed some change. There were some very vibrant buildings in here, but there were some buildings that were very decayed as well. So the urban renewal money became available for the city to demolish a number of blocks here. It took a referendum from the city as well to do that. The first building that would be built out with all this urban renewal money was the post office. This was all this multi-block area that we're in here. The last online was the Hemmons, and that became available with some money from Hattie Hemmons, who left a will, $1 million in 1857 for an urban renewal or for a community center. It had no place to go, and it was one of the reasons that spurred on this whole idea of doing something around here. So the last of the, or second building, I think, was the Pellet Court building, which is right over here. So it looks very, very different. But as a 16-year-old, I remember the streets running through here and what this looked like, and it's very different than today. I remember going to Munson Lee Hardware Store, which was right over here at Brook and Dexter. Billed is the biggest hardware store around. The Greyhound bus station was right at the corner of North and Douglas. I remember going there frequently. My father's business was to distribute newspapers. He was the head of the newspaper distribution agency in Elgin for all the Chicago papers, and we'd have late editions and some of those things come in on the bus station down in this corner, so we'd go there frequently as well too. But more in the downtown areas where I'd shop and go than right in here, because as I said, this is kind of a retail, slightly retail and commercial area as well. Kind of a mix. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and as you get a little bit older, I guess, sometimes I don't always have to look at the history and read it. I experienced this one, and I was trying to bring up as much as I could in my mind for you today too. So it's all I can do is conclude by saying it all looked very different. Just imagine streets running through here that are all the extensions of what's here today, and buildings on all of them. So looked very different.
We say hello again, everyone, and we take our mask off. We're 6 feet apart. This is our segment with Mayor David Captain, as we're just in front, we should say, in the patio area here in City Hall. And Mayor David Captain, what a busy time you've had in recent times, young man.
Good morning, Jeff. It's been pretty busy, pretty hectic. And, you know, we've got a lot of rule changes going on and a lot of changes in the city, a lot of changes in the state, and we're trying to do our best to keep up. We just entered the month of June, and we're a new phase for public seating. You know, we're still doing masks.
Of course, and we
still
should.
required.
Yeah.
Still required to keep distance as best we can. So those are things that are still out there. Will be with us for quite a while, I'm sure. But always things to remember, and gets to be habit. And I'll have to say this: I'm really proud of the people of the city of Elgin that they've adapted to these changes pretty well. And I go to the store, I go to box stores, into the grocery store, and I would say easily over 95% of the people are abiding by the law. And I think that's important for us. It's important for us to try to do that and protect people, protect others.
And be considerate of others, because really when somebody's not wearing a mask, they're abusing us or me, aren't they?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's just like having somebody step into your private space.
That's right.
And stores have to have the obligation and the responsibility of representing us as a city and maintaining the law. And if somebody comes into the store, they have the right to refuse them service. And tell them you need a mask, go outside till you come back in and get a mask. And we just got, as part of maybe part of the program a little bit, we got 4,800 masks from the U.S. Conference of Mayors to pass out. So there are masks available at City Hall. You were involved with police and fire. Our first responders went out with senior services to give some masks out to people that needed them. And we want to make sure everybody's got them if they need them.
And that was your call, the U.S. Conference of Mayors. You went to them, drew it from them, and that was great.
And it was really an interesting thing. They sent out a free bag, had 120 in it. They sent it out to, I don't know, thousands of mayors around the country.
That's great.
And inside there was a letter that said if you wanted more, on a first come, first served basis, you would get 4,800. So we applied, and they sent us, chose us, and we got 4,800 masks.
That's wonderful.
to-
It was
to
a wonderful
distribute.
moment when we were there with like a senior citizen, D. Connors, receiving that.
Yeah, and they're light. They're a very light one, so it's easy to breathe. They're not the kind that you can wear in a obviously in a hospital situation or something like that. But certainly when you go to the store, and they are washable, even though they they can be thrown away, but they are washable
They were
and
sturdy. We
reusable.
saw 'em.
So
In 2020, you can never have too many masks.
that's the way it's going to be. And hopefully we'll get through this, and we'll get back to a normal lifestyle here before too long.
Folks are watching, in some cases, early in June. Now we've just converted over as we chat with you now. That means you had to use some of your great authority if we're looking at outdoor venues or food and alcohol. Talk about that.
Right, and part of that is, back on May 13th, I was one of the first mayors to declare emergency powers, state of Illinois. I felt it was important. City manager and I felt it was important. We saw some issues that were coming up, and on that Friday, I signed the emergency powers that gives us extra power to make sure that we can move things along at a faster rate. And it's not an idea that we want to circumvent the city council, but in order to meet a crisis situation like this, you have to be able to respond. The governor has the same duties and responsibilities. And I'll give you a good example. When we went into phase 3, one of the criteria for phase 3 was outdoor dining, and using alcohol licenses, seating outside. Well, in the past, that would require somebody to apply for a permit through our community development department. They'd have to apply for a liquor license or a permit to do that. We'd have to call the liquor commission only meets once a month, the first meeting of the month. So it could take a month before they got that far. The second thing that would take effect is they'd have to go out and get the code people would have to go out, look to see that they're doing the installation properly. Then it would have to come back, go through the city council. So it could take 5 to 6 weeks. This way, if I sign it, our people can go out, do a quick inspection that same day or maybe within a few days, take a look, see that it's going to fit, that they can meet the requirements. Our health department has to go out, and within a matter of a few days, they can get the permit to start opening up. That would be critical to keep businesses open. And it could mean a month of extra business for them.
That's good. Good to cut through all that red tape, because certainly the Billy Bricks and the restaurants with that great outdoor venue,
right,
they were ready.
Exactly. Some restaurants are set up for that. Al's Cafe's got something outside already, but other places do not have those permits yet. And one of the things that we've looked at is obviously, as you look at this sidewalk, some of the new applicants, they're going to be in front of their place of business. All they have to do is maintain a 3-foot aisle so people can walk freely. They have to mark off the 6 feet, and they're going to meet some new requirements that for social seating and separation that are going to be required for business. We're doing that outside business, so hopefully it'll help get them over the hump.
Yeah, and folks have been delighted to hear things opening up, reopening a little bit.
And I've been telling people, if this is the 1st of June, if you get active on this and you decide that it's something that you want to do, this could buy you 4 months of extra business. And is it perfect? No. Nothing's perfect in this day, in the situation we're facing now. We just try to do the best that we can do. And hopefully it'll get them over the hump, and maybe by September, we'll get back to the point where they can do some increased seating inside.
Is that your venue? September would be phase 4?
Your guess? I couldn't even begin to guess,
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of the health. And again, I think the governor said it. They've said it all the way from the national level. It depends on this and maintaining that distance. That seems to be the key as to how we're being successful. Any state that's done that has had success. And other countries that have done it have had success. So it's not an accident here.
Well, there's no question. We have to watch what we do and stay in that same concept to stay with the mask and stay healthy in all cases.
Yes, exactly. And we've seen our numbers have slowed down. The increased numbers have slowed down. There's concern about a second wave. We'll find out about that. That's all in the future for us. But all we can do is the best that we can do.
Are you missing baseball?
I sure am. Spring, we're into summer, and spring still hasn't started because I always look for opening day, and that's about the first
Let me get
about
this
the first
straight.
of April.
You don't feel comfortable unless you have your Cub cap on at a game.
Exactly
is that
right.
Our events, of course, the Dennis Jor's Memorial Race was canceled recently.
Yes.
Our summer events, basically, we're not going to see much of anything, are we, sir?
That's correct. Yeah, and we're all the way into October. And the Nightmare on Chicago Street has also been canceled for this year.
That brings out some folks. We can certainly see how that works.
It does. And, one of the things that I wanted to discuss, and I've talked to the city manager, and this is up for discussion with people, some of the things that we could do locally is maybe look at shutting down Riverside Drive and open it up for food venues for people and for some businesses. If they wanted to put set up a tent, I've sent out some emails. I'm going to talk to Jennifer Fucala from the Downtown Neighborhood Association. Is this something that would work for us? Other communities have looked at doing that, and it requires setting up a remote location. And I know for businesses, boy, has that got to be a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
But this is where we're at, and I think that you got to start thinking outside the box, and before you can get outside the box, you got to get the first foot outside. And
certainly with a venue like Riverside Drive, you've got plenty of room, plenty of spacing, social distancing, and that's good as well. And folks are used to being at events out there as well.
Exactly, and and there's been some success down there. They've had the beer fest down there with food, and people like the idea. They can wander down along the riverfront, and maybe they can have a pick. They can have Thai food from Tum Tums. They can have a burger from a Public House. They can have something from the pizza. So that gives them a little bit more of a selection. But it's just in the thought process right now. But it's sure something that, we have to start moving beyond this, and we have to start thinking about getting outside the box.
So, in addition with Mayor David Captain, as we just a little bit left in, have we left anything out? Just a little bit left in our segment here.
No, I think, we had a Memorial Day service this year that was different.
Yeah.
And I think that was...
a crowd really came out for that.
And it did, but it was, it's not the same,
yeah.
And I understand that, and I think they understand it. So we try to adapt the best that we can, and hopefully next year we'll be back to. This is the first Memorial Day service I've missed in 20 years.
Yeah,
doing the replaying
right there.
Those,
but you set the stage. You opened it up in audio form for the radio station, and we, one of our camera crew was out there. We saw a lot of folks have that moment. They could stay in their car, stop right there, and just have that moment.
And I think maybe in one way, it's. Maybe more symbolic for us that we really did what we should be doing. We remembered the people, and it's not about us getting out there and doing speeches and necessarily things like that. It's about remembering the people that sacrificed for us.
You've earned your earnings this year, haven't you, Mayor?
I have.
You earned your keep.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, and I think this is important to say as well. When the city of Elgin, our employees stepped up. We understand the pain that businesses are going through, and the employees at the city share that pain with them. They've taken a furlough. Management level have taken a 10% pay reduction through the end of the year, and the second tier have taken a 5%, and I as well. I don't make a lot of money, but I gave 10% back. I think it's important that we're all part of this community, and we all work together.
We appreciate your great efforts, Mayor David Captain, so much. We appreciate all you've done. Do you like our outdoor studio?
I do. This is kind of different. I think we'll have to have different plans when we get to October and November, but right now this works out pretty well.
A strong sweater. We can still do it until
November. And when we sit under the trees, we always have to watch for the birds.
Well, Mayor David, we appreciate that. Again, congratulations on all your great efforts, and we'll get through this.
And congratulations goes to this great city.
We'll stay strong. That's going to be our segment with Mayor David Captain from our outdoor patio location near City Hall. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks. Have a great day and a great month.
Good to talk it over with Tanner Melvin. Of course, you're the co-founder, executive director of Side Street Studio Arts. And recently, you've been involved with giving away a lot of bags. Tell me about that.
We back in March, we decided that we really wanted to introduce a brown bag art kit that would actually be able to help kids that don't have anything going on during quarantine. So, or just to shape them in a little way and giving them opportunity to create different arts programming at home. So we did that. We've delivered almost 2,000 bags so far. We're going to continue doing that through the month of June. First week of June, we're going to start our Small Wonders drop-in. It's been wildly successful here and upstairs in our theater space, but we're going to be doing that on June. I believe it starts at 10 a.m. Then we're also going to be doing our drop-in lab for teens on Thursday, and that's going to be at 10 a.m. as well. Again, same week. We got a lot going on.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing our new online art classes. They're going to be starting in June, and then they're going to run for as long as possible, as long as needed. But it is definitely a pivot for us in hosting all of these classes here. We're transitioning and doing them all online.
When you say here, remind us of the location right here.
This is Side Street Studio Arts gallery space that we're in right now, actually. We have a theater space upstairs, and then we also have our lab space, which is next door across the alley at 11 and 13 South Spring Street. We also are opening up our Made store, which is our retail storefront for visual art, sculpture, and that type of thing. That we thought was going to last a month during the holidays, and that is just why it just blew up, really.
Really?
So we're bringing that back. All of the works are going to be available online. And then we're going to work on curbside pickup, and then we're going to work on adjusting and getting people back in the store in a socially distant.
And you're excited about that, aren't you?
Absolutely, very excited. We have a lot of amazing staff members that we've been lucky enough to hire back, and volunteers. The only reason any of us are still here right now is because of our amazing volunteer staff and volunteers and our staff. Without them, we wouldn't be doing any of the things that we're doing right now.
That's well said. Of course, everybody loves you. They know how to get a hold of you online, don't they?
Yes, they do. We are at www.sidestreetstudioarts.org. If anybody wants to request a free art kit or a brown bag art kit, those are available at sidestreetstudioarts.org/community moves. Community Moves is our outreach program into about 5 different elementary schools. We're going to be bringing that back hopefully in the fall, and we're looking at all these different and exciting avenues that we're going to be hosting starting in June, and
all through the summer months.
All through the summer months.
Things are getting better, so you're excited about that, aren't you?
We're very excited about that. Yeah, it's been difficult. We've seen a lot of friends and families around here and business owners that have had a very difficult time, including ourselves, but we were very fortunate. We were lucky enough to be able to find solace in the work that we are doing. Aaron and I, jumped on the opportunity to give back to the kids and the families that have supported us throughout the years, and we're just going to continue to do that.
Well, it's wonderful. Your efforts here at Side Street Studio Arts, you and Aaron, have been well received by the community, and we're so delighted that even through our tough times, you've thought of ways to keep going. We had
to, right? There's a lot of ways. We could either fold or we could struggle, and we are struggling. We're continuing to struggle, but we're also to a point where we're building, we're rebuilding. We had time to look back and to correct things for the future, and that's what we're really trying to do. We're doubling down on our staff. We're doubling down on the philosophy that revolves around Side Street, and we really wanted to try to stay relevant, because in this day and age, art may not seem relevant to a lot of people, but what is very important is mental health, and we can do that, and we can provide that through the brown bag art kits that we're handing out, and bringing the beautiful works that we are connected with out to the community.
Side Street Studio Art's great for all age groups. We can't argue with that.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, and we really appreciate all your great work. Thanks, Tanner.
Thanks. I really appreciate it, Jeff.
You can learn more about the information you saw here in Elgin today, or about city services, programs, and events by going to the Elgin website at www.cityofelgin.org. And now the City of Elgin has a 311 contact center. Elgin 311. Call, click, connect by calling 311, the city's information and request resource. Elgin Today was produced for the City of Elgin by One Source Productions. I'm Jeff Myers. Thanks for watching Elgin Today.